Hello, lovely people. How are you all doing today? I'm here to hold some space for you all and share with you a lot of the energy patterns and waves that have been flowing through this week. I'm sure you've been feeling a lot of the intense emotions, like besides just stress, a lot of grief and anger, frustration, short fuses, almost, cabin fever probably at this point. Maybe wanting solitude, but or not, um, wanting your own space, or wanting maybe silence, having too much stillness. So all these waves have been moving through, and I want to share also how these are global patterns that we're tapping into, and how they may be showing up physically in your body. And then I'll be doing some tarot cards to reflect what insights we can receive, and what there is to receive in this process. So first I want to share, and I myself have been going through this all week too. So and I want to share, like, as far as the frustration and all the feelings. I went outside for a walk to try and ground. For me, that's how I really usually get grounded. And there was just so much noise. There was a lot of people. I didn't want to talk to anybody. And I'm an introvert. So, introverts are struggling in their own ways with extroverts, because we still need we just have different ways of recharging. And it's not always just inside. So I went outside to talk to my trees, but the landscapers are still working. And I'm grateful for that. And it's also so noisy. And I really feel like noise has been this interesting theme as well. And so I was trying to be present on my walk. And I live in Florida, so there's beautiful hibiscus trees flowering. And I got close to one and I saw a dragonfly, but he looked a little like he didn't look right. And there are the dragonflies here that they're yellow and black striped. And actually, I have one that I have rescued, because I take pictures of nature treasures. So I have one that I'll share with you in a moment. I'll share now. Hopefully this won't gross you out. I think she's so beautiful. And I have taken some really beautiful pictures of her. And there's actually some artwork with her. Dragonflies can be really powerful spirit animals of both playfulness and change and witness. And I wish you could see, I don't think my camera's good enough to focus on the really beautiful web work in her wings. And so I saw her, one on the hibiscus tree bush, and she was obviously dying. Like, she just hadn't landed properly. She was pointing out. And so I paused and I told her, I hold witness for you. I hold witness for your beauty. And I stayed with her while I felt like she passed. And then I felt this really beautiful, really energy, like the colors of her wings, like the golden and coppery brown. And it came into between my heart and my power center. And it might have touched on that power center, but it just, like this delicate dance, just like their flight, like a song, flow up through my heart and through my throat. And I felt so blessed. And then I also witnessed I love hibiscus flowers, and they only actually, most people don't know this, but they actually bloom for one day. They die overnight, I guess. But they'll drop and fall overnight. And they're so magical. So I witnessed the flower too. And then as I kept walking around trying to find my peace among the noise, and then I was walking barefoot through the grass, which actually required me to walk even more slowly, which is interesting. I thought I was slowed down, and there was even more slowing down that I could do. And then I saw two dragonflies, the same yellow and brown stripes. And I was watching them, and I said hello, and I offered them I let them know that I just witnessed their kin. And I felt the consciousness of the dragonfly that I had just witnessed look at me through the eyes of this other dragonfly, or through the presence of this other dragonfly. And what I saw was that we have all these beautiful ripples of consciousness, And yeah, this is getting deep, but this is what I do. But I saw this really beautiful, and it's going to connect to how you've been feeling. And I felt like we have this, that consciousness is not an identity as an attachment, it is a residing in perspective. And so right now we're, if you want to call it spirit or divinity or soul or infinite consciousness, light consciousness exists, and I perceive it as this ocean or river flowing, and it chooses to take form as a human. And so as an identity, as this person, I have a perspective and witness and experience, but we also have a global collective consciousness of humans, just as the dragonflies showed me. So they have the individual consciousness and the collective consciousness. And so what we're feeling, and what I feel has been happening, is no matter how empathic you are or not, we are being impacted. We are through the disruption of our grounded lives. I kind of see us as almost floating in space, and in that disconnect, we are much more able to see from the perspective of the global consciousness, collective consciousness. And there's waves, just like the ocean waves traveling over the earth. There's waves, and there's waves of grief and anger and frustration and sorrow, guilt too, maybe, because if you're healthy and you have savings and you're still able to work, or you're paid or work from home, so you have that safety or security, and having that awareness of others not knowing what to do about it, you're still feeling in response, you might be feeling guilt as well, or like you're not doing enough, or helplessness, and all these emotions. And it's all an opportunity to one, be witness for the earth. And I've talked about this before, where there's a difference in trying to take someone's pain away. And I don't mean that we shouldn't all be advocates, for lessening conditions which create suffering, and for actively working with reducing our own suffering. But it's about the responsibility of it, as far as carrying other people. And we're moving from the 3D dynamic to the 5D consciousness dynamic. We are, even as healers, or especially as healers, whether you work specifically as a healer, we all in our ways, our witness is medicine for somebody, right? And we're moving into the dynamic where we take responsibility for our own everything: happiness, well-being, actions, choices, and witnessing is something that can be very challenging, and it is really one of the highest expressions of love, in my opinion. And so how do we do this? It can be simple as saying, like, I see you're suffering, I hear you, I feel you, how can I support you? Instead of assuming that we have to do something, or trying to take that person's pain away, which also takes some of their autonomy and responsibility away. There's something very powerful in having someone say, hey, I see you, I see you're struggling, I feel you, what can I do to help? It's very simple and very powerful. So this is something that if you're struggling, you can practice. And then if it's something on a global level, then I really believe that us doing self-care and nourishing ourselves, doing the work ourselves, helps the whole world, because in that collective consciousness, we're all connected in that weave. And so our feelings, our emotional state, our light body, our physical body, the electromagnetic field that is created by our form and our heart motor pump, resides within the field and impacts the others. And the more of us who are doing this work for witnessing our own emotions, being nurturing and supporting ourselves, the more that the waves move through us, as opposed to us all getting stuck in drowning. Okay, the more of us. So if you recognize that the waves are coming through and you're like, God, I'm really frustrated, and you're like, oh, okay, I'm angry, and allow yourself to express why you're angry, even the expression of it, whether it's for things you're experiencing or other people are experiencing, and then choose how you want to respond. Do you want to respond, continue to perpetuate the anger? Do you want to try to reframe it in a way of, okay, this part's out of my control, but what can I do? This is all about how we process the emotions, or the ocean that flows through us. And so really, I think the biggest one that's been coming through is really a heaviness of grief. The other day I was meditating, and it felt like every cell in my body just released this wave of grief, and came up from my legs and up into my heart. And that's also how I know more that it's coming externally, because we're all rooted into the earth. And I allowed it to rise up. I witnessed it, I held it in my body, and then I let it flow out of me, just like the waves on the shore come in and they go out. We don't stay frozen with just the waves crashing on us, right? There's a receding, there's a flow. And so what Mother Earth has really been communicating to me when I asked what else to share today is how important it is she wants you to receive from her, because her energy is so vast that she can support us. She has the ability to not only receive and transmute all suffering, but to infuse all of us with pure light, with love. And so I actually have a really beautiful Mother Earth heart grounding meditation that is available for free as a download on my website. And it takes you through essentially coming from the head down into the body, into the pelvic floor, the root chakra, down through the legs and feet, and really sending our roots deep down into Mother Earth. And depending on what element you connect with, you can connect with the earth of center of Mother Earth, or you can also might feel more revitalized by connecting with water, with all the aquifers that are underground through Mother Earth. You might connect with more of the fire element of the plasma core. And if you resonate more with air, there's still within Mother Earth, you can actually connect like to the roots of the trees that feed into the atmosphere. And so I encourage you to practice this beautiful connection and circulation, just as we were reaching out for connecting with each other. It's really important to call on our nature allies and Mother Earth and receive, because we're doing a lot of, maybe you have the practice of, doing the shadow work and processing the emotions, and that's all really beautiful work. And I know I get stuck in this too, as I forget to receive. And so like my lessons this week have been like, how can I nurture myself? How can I receive? So when I went outside yesterday to connect, again, I was trying to clear, and the earth was like, no, stop, receive. And when I did, there's just so much abundant love flew into me, and I suddenly was able to clear. I was feeling so headachy. Early on in the afternoon, I'll just get a really bad headache, and I'm not prone to headaches. It'll be hard for me to think clearly. My chest will feel heavy. I'll just be exhausted. And this is all the energy drained from processing the global consciousness energy. And so we need an infusion of nurturing energy. And so that can be energetic, which is earth. And then something I don't talk that often about, because I'm not really a foodie nutrition person, but I do really try to pay attention and get better at how to do nurturing food for myself is, all of us really want to like stress eat now or stress drink. And there's, I encourage you to have balance in that. I could eat like a whole box of cookies in one sitting from stress eating, but then I'm gonna feel really crappy afterwards. So I don't buy them. I don't keep them in the house. But for something sweet, I'll try to actually do like smoothies, fruit smoothies. And dates are super sweet, but natural, and they really can help with your sugar craving. And I've really been very conscious about making sure I do supplements like mushroom supplements and vitamin C and adaptogenic supplements. These are all things that support the body's ability to maintain its own homeostatic mechanism, which is the immunity and responsiveness. And then also eating healthy, eating nourishing foods, and that's going to be different for all of you. But making sure that, yes, indulging in that snack, but also making sure that you're eating regularly, drinking a lot of water. I know I've been really dehydrated and still drinking water. So just giving you an idea of different ways that you might be experiencing these emotions in your body, and realize you're not crazy. This is really intense times. We're all really ungrounded and things are uncertain, and that's stressful, and there's really beautiful opportunity in it to get really clear on what's important to you, to get really a lot of practice with being present in your body and being aware of your energy field or your feeling state, and recognizing that you're not at the mercy of these emotions. If you're wanting to stay informed, before you read the news, go on Facebook, ground yourself to Mother Earth and allow yourself to maintain your physical space here, and that there is that separation. It's actually kind of teaching us healthy energy boundaries as well, allowing us the space to actually perceive what is ours and what is others. So I think that was everything I wanted to share. Oh, and one other thing too, for a lot of you, if you're experiencing a lot of really intense dreams, you could be doing support work on the energetic level, and then feeling like you're super extra tired, feeling like your body's really buzzy, or feeling like it's sludgy. These can be considered like what's called ascension symptoms. I don't like the word ascension because it implies a greater than. It's really a evolution, and so I call them like light body evolution symptoms. And so you're not crazy. If you're needing extra sleep, if you can honor that, do extra rest, and you might sleep for like a couple hours hardcore out, and your body is using that energy to transform. And this gets into really about like how our DNA, different parts of our DNA can be light activated to begin to experience the new 5D relationships versus 3D, moving out of the binary into the co-creative supported community, changing, taking responsibility for ourselves and supporting each other. It's a much different power structure. So I've talked for a while. I'm going to pull some cards now. What I want to ask the cards, or for my guides to show me through the cards, is what awareness can we look for in the uncertainty, and what support can we receive? Okay. So I have my deck. I use the Osho Zen deck, and I have a couple cards that want to come out of the deck already. The rebirth card is I'll turn the camera in a moment so you can see. All right, actually I'm going to turn the camera now so you can see the cards. Give me a moment. I'll try to do it so you're not looking at my nose. No camera. It won't let me flip the camera. That's weird. Okay. I'll hold the cards up for you. Let's see. And there's a lot of inverse cards, so a lot of you are struggling. All right. I'm just gonna flip this. Okay. So we have, I pulled 7 cards. There's 3, 3, and 1. We're on the top 3. Rebirth card's been coming up for a couple weeks now. This one's actually inverted, which in this, so this is the rebirth card. So out of the sort of mental fog, or you could, in this case, maybe camel could be sluggishness, but it's inverted. So what's happening, I interpret this with, okay, the receptivity card, okay, which is also inverted. And so together, this means to me that we're actually manifesting in more of our higher selves. So here, this is actually new frequency coming in and embodying in. And both of them have light at the bottom, which is interesting. You know, I can really feel that in my feet. And so I really do feel like this is an invitation again from Mother Earth to be connecting. Oh, I see. Okay, so actually if you look here, it's almost kind of like space, right? Or air, a sky. So our feet feel ungrounded. And so we're dealing with the sensation of ungroundedness while we're also receiving multiple things or receiving multiple waves. It's the global emotions as well as this core energy, the more personal emotions, as well as working with our higher self. And those are actually along with postponement. So in this case, though, this is referring to not only are we in this ungroundedness and uncertainty, but we don't know when it's going to end. And so it feels like we're on hold, like the future is way out there, and there's like this gap in between, and things in the timeline are very unanchored right now. So I know that's an uncomfortable feeling. Okay, so those are actually the insights of, they seem kind of obvious, but maybe that's just stating it in a way that's easier for you to receive, or sparks something new, or gives you validation for like what you've been thinking is going on, but maybe you've been dismissing it. So yes, if you've been feeling that, it's valid. So what I'm seeing for what we can do to receive is letting go. And this water is emotions. So again, it's really about, so see, these plants are rooted, but the water flows past them. And she also, I almost feel like these are tears, you know, that our global tears are flowing together. And then speaking of groundedness too, this is about, you know, look at you know, I've always loved this card because of just the simple beauty and perseverance, and like the little bitty crack, just need a small opportunity to be grounded and feel grounded. And this is a major arcana card, which means that this is a theme right now, is like, how are we showing up? And I really see the courage as part of love, you know, and there's such an outreach of people finding creative ways to help each other. And that's an expression of courage. And so if you've been feeling like you want to support others, that's beautiful, and do it from a place of where you're nurturing yourself as well. Let's see. Next card that goes along with that as far as support is the inner voice card. It is inverted. So this is actually, we have full moon and crescent moon, dolphin energy, ocean energy. There's actually been a lot coming up about connecting with Lemuria in the past couple of weeks, and people that I've been working with, reclaiming our energy from those lifetimes. So if that resonates with you, you might have been a priestess in that lifetime, regardless of your gender now. And actually I have a couple Lemurian quartzes right here that have really been showing up, or have really been active in wanting to be worked with lately. This one has a really beautiful clarity. Let me see again, I feel like the inversion is the receiving. And so we might actually be receiving insights from other lifetimes, and even receiving from higher self, from spirit guides, and from Mother Earth herself. And what it comes down to when about receiving guidance as truth is whether it resonates as true for you and your body. So this is a time to be cultivating your discernment about what feels true for you or not. And really interesting, so many inverted cards. The last card is the experiencing card, where she's one with nature, but she also, again, this is the reminder of having her own identity, but also being able to shift and reside within a larger perspective of energy. And this is a fire card as far as taking action. I feel like the inversion here, is reflecting that a lot of you are getting lost in the global consciousness. And so I'll pull another card for how to invert that, how to help with that is the integration card. And so the integration card is, again, it's the evolution out of the 3D duality archetypes and structures, and the light and the shadow. And so shadow work too is not just, it's actually not about clearing shadows. Shadows are usually protections of traumas, and so, or beliefs, or things that are protecting our true self. And so the more that we go within and really become clear on our boundary, and not in an exclusionary way, but really clear on who we are, what matters to us, and what's healthy and supportive for us, that is what is going to help us stay grounded going forward. So if you are used to taking your cues maybe externally, this is an opportunity for you to claim responsibility for how your future is going to unfold. And it's actually, as far as I see or feel into the timeline, it is completely fluid right now. So there is a waiting. And instead of trying to focus on what the future looks like, come into the present moment. Like, all these inverted cards are really, like, I feel like the universe saying, like, stop looking ahead, be now, right? I was talking to a friend, Shanna, this morning, and she had this beautiful discussion about the uncertainty, and about, like, okay, I touch my feet to the earth, and then I take a step and I touch them again. And so it's not about, like, planning the mile ahead anymore, or not at this time. It is about taking the one step at a time, and in that step, receiving, being in circulation, having your clear presence, and being in connection, receiving, circulation with what consciousness or greater consciousness appeals to you, whether it's global human consciousness, divine consciousness, earth consciousness, whatever helps you feel connected and begins to give you a sense of presence. I think presence really replaces groundedness. So I know that was a lot of heavy topics. If you are feeling just overwhelmed by it all, I really recommend asking yourself what one thing you need right now to either help you feel like you can breathe, either help you feel more energized, or help you feel secure in the moment, comforted in the moment, to help you feel empowered. Whichever one of those emotions feels bright to you, and ask yourself what you need. Is it food? Is it action? Is it connection? Is it silence? Is it meditation? Is it something fun, something to make you laugh? It's really important that we play and laugh and do so without guilt, because that frequency is joy. The more joy that we generate, that does help all of us. It helps shift the frequency and helps others who are suffering to more easily access and reframe their frequencies to separate out from the ocean in a way that is no longer feeling drowned, but is part of and flowing. So I hold silence for you. I hold presence for you. I see you all struggling and know that you're not alone. And also, I really encourage those of you finding me, I think this is time for you to step up. You may be already doing some form of service work, and I encourage you to believe that what you're doing matters, makes a difference. The more that we choose to commit ourselves each day to what really matters to us, that is the best way that we serve. No, even if it's not a direct service industry, everything that we do, when we do it and aligned with our highest self and our heart and passion and conviction, and like surrender the worry of how that's going to make us a living, or what the value of that is, it matters. You being you, it's inherently valuable, and I want you to hear that. Okay. If you are feeling still lost, a lot of the work that I do helps empower people like you to finding how to ground and commit to that conviction within and alignment. So feel free to reach out to me for a free discovery call, or you can start with trying out my grounding meditation and see how that resonates for you. I'll be doing some, in the next week, I'll be recording some more guided meditations, and those will be going up on YouTube as well. So I hope you'll check those out. So I hope this insight has been helpful. I appreciate you staying with me this long. I was going to do 2 videos, but it's all connected. So I trust that if you're here, that it was the message you needed to hear. So holding love and light for you. Let your feet connect with Mother. Let yourself rest. Rest is work now too. Namaste. Have a beautiful day.